What's up guys, it's Sarah. So as a person with allergies, I feel like I've had like my fair share of like times when I've literally almost died because my body's been trying to kill itself after I eat like, I don't know, an egg, or after I like drink a glass of milk, things that normal people do, but my body's like, no, it's,
oh my gosh, like you can't do that, Sarah.
you know, my body is it's really just doesn't like it, you know? I try to be careful. I've had allergies my entire life, so I know like the ins and outs, I don't know. So I do try to be careful, but you know, once in a while there's some slip-ups and I mess up and I don't read the ingredients properly and I eat something that I'm not supposed to. Today's video is just gonna be me telling you guys about those times because, you know, in the moment it's pretty scary and terrible, and you know, obviously it's not fun because I throw up multiple times, or I, you know, just allergy things. In the moment it's not very fun. But you know, in hindsight, looking back on it, it's kind of funny. Not really, but it's kind of funny. And just to let you guys know, I'm allergic to dairy, eggs, and most nuts, but not all nuts, and also a few fruits. And I've been allergic to all those things since I was born, so. You know, if you can learn one thing from this video, I think it would be that you shouldn't do what I did in the past because I was kind of dumb. I mean, to be fair, most of these things happened when I was a lot younger, but yeah, just don't do what I did. And if you have allergies, carry your EpiPen around because, you know, I don't always follow my own advice, but it's definitely important because your EpiPen is what's gonna save your life if you eat something that you're not supposed to. That's just like basic information. I think most people know that. So let's just get into the stories. Okay, story number 1. So when I was younger, my siblings and I always used to like drink milk in the afternoon. So my mom would set our 3 blue cups that were exactly the same cup, just like different ones, on our blue table, and we'd sit on our blue chairs and drink our milk together in the afternoon. But as you can see, we had 3 cups that were literally the same. Like they were the exact same cup, but we had 3 versions of it. And I don't know why. I mean, this wasn't really my fault, but my parents were like, yeah, like it'll be fine. But like how we told the difference was that my straw was red or something, and then my siblings' straws were a different color. And I mean, I guess that is kind of a good way to like tell the difference, but it's also a little bit dangerous. So one day, it was the afternoon, we were just drinking our milk and stuff, or we were about to drink our milk, and I just like walked over and I like picked up a cup and started drinking it. And then my mom, cause like she's, I don't know, she must have like eagle eyes or something, but like she turned around, she's like, Sarah, what are you doing? And I like looked and I realized I was drinking from the wrong cup. So I didn't know what to do, and then she's like, spit it out. So I was like, okay. Oh, this is when I was like 5 years old, by the way. So I spit out the milk onto the chair, and I was just like standing there looking at it, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was just a 5-year-old kid. I was kind of confused. And my mom's like, go throw up or something. Well, she didn't say to go throw up. She's like, ah. And I was like, ah. Because, you know, I was just a 5-year-old. I didn't really know what was going on. So, you know, at that point, I don't really know how, like, the time in between. But I remember going to the washroom and I just started throwing up. And, like, keep in mind that I didn't actually, like, drink any of the milk. I probably swallowed a little bit. But most of it I spat out. But I threw up, like, a lot of times. Like, I threw up so many times in a row, and my parents are like, well, I don't know if my dad was there, he might have been, but my mom was like, oh, like, should she go to the hospital? Like, I don't know. And like, I was like throwing up in the washroom, and then my parents were like, okay, like, we should probably take her to the hospital. And then we were like about to go into the car, and I was like kind of like, I don't know, like, I don't really remember what happened exactly since it was so long ago, but I was like, hey, like, yeah, I'll go to the hospital, whatever. And then we were about to go in the car, and I was like, no, like, I need to throw up again. So I went back into the washroom and I threw up a few more times, I think. And then after that, I was basically okay. So we never actually went to the hospital. I feel like we probably should have, but yeah, so that's what happened there. Pro tip, make sure you're drinking from the right cup if you're gonna drink milk. Also, I didn't say this either, but I always drank almond milk when I was younger. I didn't drink cow's milk, and then one day I just was allergic to it. Like, I've been allergic since birth. But yeah, also in that situation, I never actually used my EpiPen, so yeah, I was just fine. I just kind of threw up a few times and everything was okay, but I feel like I should have gone to the hospital and maybe used my EpiPen, but I was fine, so. So the second story is about chicken noodle soup, and this was like way before I was vegan. I mean, all these things really happened when I was younger, when I definitely wasn't vegan. So as a kid, I always wanted to have chicken noodle soup, and I don't know why, but like the idea of chicken noodle soup just sounded really good to me, but I could never have it because most chicken noodle soups had eggs in it. Remember that. When I was younger, my mom like would make it for me once in a while, but it wasn't the same, or at least I didn't think it was gonna be the same because I was just a kid that wanted to have chicken noodle soup. But one day, we were traveling somewhere. I'm pretty sure we were in Washington, D.C. on like a trip, and we were going shopping at Walmart, just like looking for stuff, and I saw a can of chicken noodle soup, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I really want this. And I picked it up and I read the ingredients, and another thing you should know is that when I was younger, my mom never let me read the ingredients myself. This story took place when I was probably like 11 maybe? I would say like 11, so I was definitely a lot older, and I maybe could have read the ingredients myself, but my mom didn't trust anyone but herself to read them. So when we were in the store, I picked up the can and I read the ingredients. I was like, oh, these are good. And then my dad read it and he's like, oh yeah, like this is fine, like she can have it. And my mom was a bit skeptical, but I think this was at a point when like maybe I was like begging her to let me read the ingredients myself because I just really want to be independent. I don't know. So she was like, okay, well, like if you guys both read it and it's good, then you can have it. And I was really happy because I just wanted chicken noodle soup. And that was another thing that my mom just was like, why do you want chicken noodle soup so bad? Like it's just chicken noodle soup, like I don't know. So yes, I was pretty happy about that, and we went back to the hotel and my dad opened the can of soup for me and I started eating it. And as I started eating it, I noticed that my mouth was like a little bit itchy, but I was like, oh, like whatever, like it's fine, maybe I'm just getting sick. And for me, eggs are one of my allergies that aren't as like intense, like they're not super bad, so like I could probably eat an egg. Well, actually I don't know. My allergies have changed a lot over the years, so I'm not really 100% sure what would happen, but eggs have always been something that I wasn't as allergic to. So yeah, so I was eating the can and I wasn't eating the can, I was eating the soup, and my mouth just started feeling more and more itchy, and I was like, oh, this is kind of weird, like I don't think your mouth is supposed to feel like this, but like I didn't really care, so I just drank the whole can. And then at the very end, I was just kind of sitting there, and then my dad was like, oh, maybe I should check the ingredients again just in case, because we were about to throw the can away, and then he realized that there were eggs in the can. There were egg whites and egg yolk. And the thing is that me and my dad had both read the ingredients, and neither of us had seen that there was literally eggs in the soup, but like it was one of the like last ingredients on the list, which means there weren't very much eggs in it, I guess. But we both missed it, which is kind of really dumb. And I literally drank the entire can of soup without really, I don't know, stopping myself, because I just wanted chicken noodle soup so bad. And like, I mean, I think it was pretty good, but like I'd never drink it now because I'm like vegan. Yeah, so I drank the whole thing, and then my mom was like freaking out, obviously. She's like how could you guys do this? Like I trusted you guys to read the ingredients. And I was like, well, I kind of messed up. So after that, my mom almost always read the ingredients for me. Not now, I'm 17 now, so now I can do it myself. So after I realized that there was eggs in it, I don't know if it was like mentally, because like the whole time I think I was like, I slowly felt like I was about to throw up. After I drank all of it, then I threw up, and then we were like, okay, we need to go to the hospital. So we went to the hospital, and this was in Washington, so it was like kind of weird, like different country, different stuff. And you know, I went to the hospital. I never actually used my EpiPen this time either, but they did give me this like, I remember this really clearly for some reason, but they gave me this medicine, and it tasted like bananas, and it was like disgusting, like it was so bad. But right after I drank it, like, well, not right after, but pretty soon after I drank it, I felt a lot better, which was really good. So yeah, more of the story for that one is to read the ingredients, and if you're an 11-year-old kid and you and your dad are bad at reading, maybe get your mom to do it. So one thing people ask me a lot is why I don't eat at restaurants, or if I do eat at restaurants, like what do I eat? Like, do I order up a secret menu or something? No, I don't. I just don't eat at restaurants. And this story will explain why I don't eat at restaurants, because almost every person that I talk to is like,
oh, like you don't eat at restaurants, like that's terrible, like I feel so bad for you.
But I almost died once, so I don't really think it's that bad. This story is the worst out of the three, I think, because this time I actually like, well, I didn't use my EpiPen, but my parents used it on me, and I think this was one of the only times that I've ever had to have my EpiPen like actually like injected into me. This happened when I was like 4 or 5 maybe, in Vancouver, because that's where I lived when I was around that age. And when I was younger, I used to eat at restaurants. I went to some Chinese ones, probably just like typical, and they would get me something that's like pretty basic, so like rice, barbecue pork, that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'd get the same thing every time, and they always would make sure that you could say like no eggs, no milk, like that stuff, and I was always fine. I don't know how many times I actually ate at the restaurants, but I went there like decently regularly. So one day we went to the restaurant and we ordered the same thing for me. I had like rice and barbecue pork. I don't know if it was that for sure, but we're just gonna say it was that. And I ate it, but then... Why is my computer talking? Sorry, I had to turn off my computer. Yeah, so I was eating the food, and then I think my parents noticed that I started to feel like, or I started to like look bad or something. I don't know, but I probably started to throw up, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and it was like really scary for them because it was the first time I had an allergic reaction at a restaurant, and they didn't know what to do, and they stabbed me with my EpiPen, and they called 911, I think, and I think I was in an ambulance, and they took me to the hospital. And yeah, that's basically the story. It's a pretty like short story, I guess, compared to the other ones, but this one I think was the scariest because it was one of my first serious allergic reactions, and I actually had to use my EpiPen. Well, as I said before, it wasn't me, but my EpiPen actually had to be administered into me. So yeah, it was probably pretty scary for my parents. I don't remember any of this because I was probably like 4 or 5, but it was definitely pretty scary. So that's why I don't really eat at restaurants anymore, because I don't want to go through that again. Also, it's hard with like cross-contamination and stuff because you just never really know what could be on your food. Like even if you've gone to a restaurant like multiple times in a row, like there's still no like there's no guarantee that your food isn't contaminated. So story number 4, to end things off, this is more of a light-hearted story. Not really, it's still kind of bad, but this is, I don't know, I find this one kind of funny. So I think this was in like grade 7 or something. So we're eating cookies in school. I don't know what happened. I think maybe like a teacher bought it for like the class, or maybe one of my friends was just eating a cookie or something. Who knows? But basically someone was eating a cookie, and I don't even know how this happened, but I think we were like playing around or whatever, and somehow a cookie crumb got in my eye. And this was, I'm pretty sure it was a chocolate chip cookie. I don't know why I remember that fact specifically, but I think it was a chocolate chip cookie, and one of my friends was eating it, and then it got into my eye, and I was like, oh no, there's a crumb in my eye, like ow, like ah. And then my eye started to like swell up and stuff, and then it swelled up like a lot because like, you know, there's a cookie crumb in my eye that I was allergic to. And my eye just swelled up and stuff, and I couldn't really see out of it, and it was like puffy, and it was super itchy, and my friend felt really bad because she thought that she was gonna kill me. And my teacher, I don't really remember what she did. All I really remember is just like the crumb in my eye and all that stuff. I don't really remember what happened after, but I was fine. I just kind of like maybe washed, I think maybe I washed my eye out. I don't know, what do you even do in that situation? But that's pretty much what happened. I think that one's funny. I don't know why it's not really funny. But afterwards, my friend and I wrote like a little short story called The Cookie That Killed My Friend, because we thought it was kind of funny. Not really. I don't think I really realized like the seriousness of it, but looking back, I do think it was funny. So yeah, those are my stories about my allergic reactions. And you know, as I said before, these aren't really funny because allergies are like life-threatening. Well, for some people. My allergies are pretty life-threatening. At least some of them are. You know, allergies are scary, but sometimes they can be funny. Not all the time, but with these stories, I think looking back now, they're funny, kind of, because I learned from them, and now I know to listen to my mom and not let myself read the ingredients, and to make sure I'm drinking from the right cup, and not to eat at restaurants, and closing my eyes every time someone eats a cookie by me. Just kidding, I don't do that. You know, I've learned my lesson. I've learned some things, I guess, and most of all, I had fun. Just kidding. No, I didn't have fun. I just learned stuff, so hopefully you guys learned something too. And hopefully you thought these stories were kind of funny, or at least kind of interesting. If you guys want me to tell more allergy story times, let me know, because these are not the only times I've had allergic reactions. I have had, I don't actually know how many, but I've had a lot, because I've been alive for 17 years with allergies, and that is a lot of times to have allergic reactions. So if you want another one of these videos, let me know, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.